So the groundbreaking dev is here, and yes, that is partially a pun, and I'm not sorry for it, but here is what's really funny. Although we might be getting a brand new feature in the game and a couple of new vehicles, there are some things in this game that should have been added in the previous update, because last update it was called Direct Hit, where Gaijin was more or less talking about how they introduced more smart munitions, laser guided bombs, etc. But in this update we're getting more of them, I think more than we got in the previous one, and they're calling this update groundbreaking because of a single feature. It's kind of a weird situation. And what else is very unusual is that this dev is dropping on a Friday as opposed to a normal Saturday, which means that this is being rushed kind of a bit, in my opinion. I couldn't exactly find the word for it, but they're just kind of rushing through this a little bit too quickly, in my opinion, which means that we might get the update next week. I could be wrong. I heard November 4th is the drop date, but for some reason, I think that's way too far out. So maybe near the end of this month, we might get it, but don't quote me on that, okay? I swear if I see a Reddit post on that, I will downvote it. So anyways, on to the actual vehicles itself. Now, this update is going to introduce one big major update, which you'll see right here.
Come on, guys, make sure
I love how Danny and I are just driving back and forth and not actually doing anything. Is this the point where we shoot him?
Yeah,
or?
I'm so tempted to ruin your video right now.
I'm very.
Wait! No!
Simon says.
No!
That looks so wrong.
Now, what you just saw is me and my community just kind of having a bit of fun. It's going to be introduced in a future video, which might come out either tonight or tomorrow night, depending on what happens with the charity stream going on. But basically, there's some new terrain deform via dozers, which is very awesome. Although, you kind of have to take that with a little bit of grain of salt. Wow, I didn't say that too right. You have to take that with a grain of salt, because those are what many like to call the Kill Me Mounds, which basically, it's loose dirt, Sable rounds can go right through it, but in War Thunder, they kind of act like solid objects to some extent. It's kind of weird. I don't know how they're going to introduce it in the actual main game itself, but that's kind of a given. So moving forward with that, I did put every single new vehicle that I could find. Bear with me here, I may have missed some feature or two or a vehicle or two, and I did put them here on my lineup to kind of showcase a quick run through everything. So first one being for the Americans is the A7E. This is a step up from the A7D, but as you can see right here, it gets 6 of these AGM-65A Walleye missiles, I think they're called. I think I'm saying them wrong, to be honest, but check that out. AGM-65 or AGM-62As. 201 kilograms of explosive mass, which is very good, especially for a smart munition like this. Aside from that, it's nothing too overly fancy, I guess. It's just basically the A7D without AIM-9Js, which I guess kind of makes for a very unique experience. Definitely something I will be using for some ground pounding, that is most certain. And next up, we have a boat. I mean, it's kind of ugly, holy crap. I know why they use this pattern, was to kind of make it so that you can't really range these types of vessels too accurately, I guess. It's a World War I tactic, I think it was. So don't think they used it in the Second World War. But anyways, moving on to the next one. Now, this is going to be more interesting. We are getting the Weasels. Check this out. Now, we have 3 variants in particular. The 1A4, the 1A2, and the Ocelot, which is basically, think of the Saddam Mistral, but tinier and faster, 70 kilometers an hour, and it does use the FIM-92K, which are basically upgun Stinger missiles, but if they kind of hold true to how Stingers work in the game, they're going to be kind of crap, and that's just the way I view it. I haven't tested it, but I assume they're going to be very crap, knowing how they already play in the game right now, and that's probably the most important one for a 9.0 vehicle, which is very interesting. I don't expect it to stay at 9.0. Next up, we have the Weasel 1A2, which does get a tandem warhead tow to a missile, which is very nice. Yeah, tandem, as you can see right there, 800 millimeter base penetration, and it does travel at 329 meters a second, which is very nice. It does get the tow 2 standards, and it does get the tow 2Bs, which is very nice as well, especially seeing that this is a 9.0 vehicle, and it does get, I believe, Gen 2 thermal sights. I believe all of these get Gen 2 thermal sights. But here's the funny part for the 1A4. This is a BR 7.0 vehicle with Generation 2 thermal sights and a laser rangefinder. That's actually very unusual. It does get DM63. I do not expect this to stay at 7.0. I have no idea why it would be here. I think they're going to move it up to 8.0 at the very minimum, seeing that the only thermal sight vehicle that's the lowest BR is at 8.0. So at 7.0 might be a bit of an issue, but here is the next one, which I found to be incredibly surprising. The MiG-21 SPSK, which is a premium MiG. I believe this is on par with the PFMs, but it only gets the R3s, R3Ss, and of course the R3Rs, which I've been told are very terrible. So yes, you guys get a premium MiG-21 in the German lineup. I believe I've been told that the MiG-21 BIS might come for the Germans, which would make things incredibly interesting to say the least. So yeah, you guys get a premium MiG-21. Enjoy that, my German mains, okay? And sort of Russian mains as well. I guess that kind of makes sense. So up next, we have some more relatively unique ones. Now, I do have the BVM in this lineup because, yes, it does get the Dozer as a modification. Check this out. It is a T1 modification, which is very nice. You can't really see it deploy, but it is underneath these skirts, which is very nice. But here is the next thing that I am very surprised, yet I'm incredibly happy to see. The 2S25M, which is basically the modernized version of the 2S25. Now, it does get the Swedish round, which is very nice. 3BM46. It's the same one found on the T80U, same one found on the T90, I believe, as well. And yeah, it's just basically a light tank with Swedish round. It does get generation, I believe, 3 thermal sights, which everyone gets it. The gunner, the tank commander, as well as the driver, which is very nice. This is a light vehicle, so you're not going to survive too many hits, but given the fact that it has good optics for the most part, I mean, check that out. They actually fixed the gunner sights 4 times to 12 times, which is very nice, and a commander sight as well with the same magnification. So it's nice that we're going to have a more modernized version of the 2S25 Sprut or Sprut, because in truth, this thing is a favorite, okay? Battlefield 4, yes, absolutely, okay? So expect a random video for this immediately after it comes out, maybe a day or two, give or take. So next up, we have a naval vessel, which is nothing too impressive. I mean, it's in the frigate line. Yeah, there it is. Cool. You guys like it? Cool. Got it? Okay, off to the next stuff. Now, the the British don't get much. Now, this is what I like to kind of call the kill tractor, or a light version of the kill dozer. I hope I'm not getting political here, but yeah, here it is. This is, yeah. Just, I don't even know what to think of this thing. It's 4.3. Wrong button here. And it does have some decent firepower for the most part. I mean, it can definitely get the job done, but this is a mean vehicle to say the least. So yeah, but next up, one more important thing that I didn't really find to be super exciting, but it's still exciting nonetheless, and that's a Super Dreadnought, which is another BB, which has a shit ton of auxiliary weapons. I don't usually curse like that on my videos, but God, that's a lot of guns. And this bad boy, oh yeah, if it's 43,000 repair costs right now, it's going to be way more than that a little bit later. It's probably going to hit up to 100,000 stock repair costs. Just wait for it, okay? So we can't have anything too nice, unfortunately. But next up, the Japanese. Yeah, check this out. Now, the Japanese don't really get anything new, unfortunately. No new aircraft. I believe the F4EJ Kaiju, or the F4EJ Phantom 2, I believe it does also get some JDAM missiles, which I forgot to mention. There are JDAMs in the game now. There it is right here, the GBU-38s, which are very nice and all. They don't currently work for me right now in the game, so I don't think they're working, but I assume they will at some point. But yeah, even the Japanese get some JDAM munitions. I don't believe this is with the Americans as well. I could be entirely wrong. Let me go take a look at that really quick. Phantom 2 right here. No, it appears that the Americans do not get the JDAM munitions. That's interesting. But anyways, back to the Japanese themselves. Now, that's really it when it comes down to the new additions. Now, the Type 90 did get a dozer blade right here, but here is what I find incredibly unusual. Now, the Type 90A doesn't have the dozer mount, but the Type 90B does. Oddly enough, okay? But the Type 90B does not get the dozer mounts. Yeah, or the dozer mount itself. It's weird, right? It has the mounting for the dozer, but it doesn't get the dozer, whereas this one doesn't, and it does get it. It's kind of all over the place for me, to be honest, which is incredibly weird. But aside from that, that's the only change up that I believe they're getting. I could be wrong. Next up, the Chinese, which you only get 2 things. The ZLT-11, which does get the Chinese equivalent to DM-33-105, which is very nice. So at 9.3, it kind of fits incredibly well at that BR. It's more in line with the Rod Kampfwagen. It does get generation 2 or 3 thermal sights, DTB-1, which is a proxy round. It's kind of potato in my opinion. I could never really use this efficiently, but it does get to use it. It gets Type 83 APDS as a tier 1 modification and heat as a stock round. And again, tandem warhead, which is kind of a given for all of the PTLs or PTL lookalikes. And of course, we do get a BR 1.7 V12D, which does not have a complete model, but yeah, it looks like kind of like a Chinese SB1 or a Taiwanese, however you want to go ahead and call it there, okay? So yeah, that's something you guys, low tier players, can definitely look into for sure. Now, next up is the Italians. They get 2 things. One, a destroyer, which I don't know why you're seeing this first, but they get a premium destroyer. Really cool, but that's not what you're looking for. No. You want to see this, the VCC 8030, also known as the bigger version of the Dardo. Now, it's not complete. I'm not going to show it to you in full detail because it's not complete. It does not have thermal sights. It does get the TOW-2A missiles, TOW-2Bs, standard TOWs, and it does get a really good AP round, 101mm base pen on this M928 APFS DS, which is really good. I mean, for a 30mm, yeah, it's really good. So this thing is going to hurt quite a bit. Rate of fire is not ready yet. No thermal sights. Survivability is going to be potato as per usual, but you do get another Dardo to harass with, and it does, of course, get a stabilized gun platform, which is very nice. And next up, we have the French. So let's check them out. Nothing really new here, unfortunately. Now, we do get the new EBR model 1951 as a 4.3 BR rating tech tree EBR, which is very nice. And that's the only thing new that they're really getting for ground forces. But check this out. The Jaguar is getting some new munitions. Check those out. Now, these are, I guess, I don't know how to really describe it. You're able to guide them to the target and it will follow the laser all the way through, even if you make some adjustments, which is very nice. Now, these are the BGL 1000s, and it does get the BGL 400s, which is very nice, but these are probably going to be the things I use the most. Now, it says there's 4 of them, but we only get 2 of them. I guess for balancing reasons, that kind of makes sense. And it does get a flare pod, which is really nice. So you get thermal sights with a Jaguar. That's incredibly fun to have. I love thermal sights personally. You get Gen 2s or Gen 3 thermal sights on a fixed wing aircraft. That's going to be incredibly fun. This bad boy is definitely going to come out with me almost every single game I play at top tier. And at 10.3, very nice. But let's take a look at the star of the show, more or less. Sweden gets another Viggen, and they also get the 9040B at battle rating 8.3, which does have the same firepower found on the Stritz-4 9040 standards, which is kind of unusual. You get Gen 2, Gen 3 thermal sights, a CITV, and an AP round with good base pen at 8.3. Yeah, I don't expect this to stay here at all. I think this is a minimum 9.0 tank, 9.3 maybe, but who knows? 8.3, kind of a solid venture. But check this out. We do get another Viggen, except that this does not have a mounted gun, only gun pods, and it does get some very unique munitions, as it does now feature the RB-75 air-to-ground missiles. They are TV-guided missiles, which is very interesting, although if you happen to use these alongside the flares and chaff, you do lose access to the gun pods, which means you're going to be very defenseless if you decide to bomb some targets and opt to, I guess, retreat from there on out. So, yeah. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was my quick little run through of all the new additions in the game itself. If you want a more detailed, fun video, more or less, feel free to check out the VOD over on my Twitch stream. Link is down in the description below. I spent the first 2 hours of my day, more or less, just working on all of this stuff and showcasing some of the new events. Now, I will show you some clips, but Twitch is very, very picky when it comes to showing content from Twitch into YouTube, okay? It's part of my whole partnership agreement, so it's may not be a permanent thing. We'll definitely see, but I'm not throwing any subtle hints, I promise. Or am I? So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section about the new update. Are there some broken features? Are there some new things I missed out on? Feel free to let me know down there, as I would love to know from you guys to see if I can update whether or not we get a second dev server and maybe update you guys in another video. We'll definitely have to see about that. Now, I am pretty exhausted right now, so I do apologize if I'm kind of repeating things and sound a little unusual. I hope you guys did enjoy everything, and I'll see you not only in the next video or even the streams, but in War Thunder itself. Now, enjoy the rest of the update, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the dev server, and I'll see you next time.